Lucy had always been careful with money. A lifetime of working in retail had taught her the value of every pound earned and saved. At 61, early retirement had come as both a relief and an uncertainty. Her health had forced her to step away from work sooner than planned, but it had also left her with a lingering question. What now? Sitting at her small kitchen table one evening, a cup of tea warming her hands, she scrolled through her phone, looking for investment opportunities. Her pension was modest, and though she and her husband managed their expenses well, she couldn't shake the feeling that they needed something more to secure their future. That's when she came across Admirals FX. The website gleamed with professionalism, bold, modern graphics, glowing testimonials, and a promise of effortless gains. A secure way to trade, trusted by thousands worldwide, it claimed. She was skeptical at first, but curiosity pushed her to dig deeper. She read glowing reviews, watched videos of people who had supposedly doubled their money in weeks, and even found a reassuring article on a finance blog that mentioned the firm in passing. Maybe this is my chance, she thought. She left her details on the site, and within hours, a man with a confident, reassuring voice called her. He introduced himself as Daniel from the client success team. He didn't rush her. He listened. When Lucy shared her concerns about retirement and needing a safe investment, Daniel reassured her. Lucy, you're not alone. Many of our clients are in your position, looking for ways to make their hard-earned savings work for them. We don't believe in get-rich-quick schemes. Our platform offers stable returns through professional trading strategies. His words were carefully chosen, his tone soothing. She asked about risks, about legitimacy. Admirals FX was regulated, he assured her, just like any major trading firm. Why don't you start small, he suggested. Just $500, see how you feel. No pressure, no obligations. $500 felt manageable. She reasoned that even if it didn't work out, it was no worse than a bad shopping trip. She made the transfer, and within hours, she could see her balance growing on the platform, up $47 already. Encouraged, she added another $1,000 the next week. By the end of the month, Lucy was logging in daily, watching her money grow. She hadn't felt this excited in years. Lucy's morning routine had changed. Instead of leisurely sipping her tea with the newspaper, she now opened her laptop first thing, logging into her Admirals FX account to check her investments. The numbers never failed to impress her. Her initial $2,500 had grown to over $2,100 in just a few weeks. The upward trend seemed unstoppable. Daniel, her ever-patient advisor, called regularly. He praised her for making smart decisions and encouraged her to take advantage of the market's momentum. You're doing incredibly well, Lucy, he said during one call. The crypto sector is in a golden phase. I have clients who started just like you and are now withdrawing thousands every month. This is your time. His words ignited a mix of excitement and urgency. She had never considered herself a serious investor, but now, with a portfolio that appeared to be thriving, she wondered why she hadn't started sooner. Still, a part of her hesitated. Daniel, I'm just a regular person. I don't understand all this technical stuff. What if I make a mistake? He chuckled warmly. That's exactly why we're here, to help. And you don't need to do anything complicated. Our analysts do the work. You just decide how much you want to invest, and we take care of the rest. You're already seeing the results. And the results were undeniable. Each deposit seemed to multiply like magic. She tested a small withdrawal, $200, and within 24 hours, the funds appeared in her bank account. That was all the proof she needed. Lucy sat down with her husband that evening, explaining the opportunity. Look at this, she said, pointing to the bright green numbers on the screen. We could really turn things around. Her husband, always the cautious one, squinted at the screen. And you're sure this is safe? She nodded confidently. I already withdrew some, it works, and Daniel, he's been fantastic. After some back and forth, they agreed to invest more. $5,000 became $10,000, then $20,000. Each time, the returns were astounding. The account balance kept rising, And Daniel hinted that bigger investments unlock premium strategies. We're talking about doubling your money in months, Lucy, not years. Her doubt had faded. She was winning the game, and for the first time in years, she felt in control of her future. But beneath the surface of her growing confidence, something darker was beginning to take shape. And she had no idea. Lucy's account balance now displayed a dazzling 85 hours. The numbers were intoxicating. And each day she logged in, she felt a surge of excitement. She wasn't just investing, she was thriving. The thought of a comfortable retirement, perhaps even a few long-dreamed-of vacations, seemed more real than ever. Daniel's calls had become more frequent, his voice brimming with enthusiasm. "You've built something incredible, Lucy," he said one afternoon. "Most people dream of getting to this point, but few have your instincts. And guess what? Our top-tier investors are making moves right now. There's a rare opportunity, a high-frequency trading strategy. You'd be perfect for it." She hesitated. "How much do I need to invest?" "There's no minimum, but the more you put in, the bigger the impact. You've already mastered the basics. Lucy, this is your chance to elevate your portfolio to 6 figures. 6 figures. The thought sent a thrill through her, but she and her husband had already invested a lot. The rest of their savings were tied up in pensions. Daniel sensed her hesitation. "I completely understand. Smart investors always think things through. Just remember, opportunities like this don't come around often. And the sooner you move, the bigger your advantage." Lucy had trusted Daniel's advice before, and every step had only led to more profit. At least, that's what her account balance showed. Encouraged, she made another deposit, this time for $10, bringing her total investment to nearly $100. No, the balance in her account surged past $130. Overnight, she was elated. She had never seen so much money in her life. Then, she decided to make a withdrawal. Just $5, nothing major. Just a small test to enjoy a bit of the success. She clicked the withdraw button and waited. Nothing. An error message flashed. "Withdrawal pending. Additional verification required." Confused, she reached out to Daniel. He picked up immediately, his voice as warm as ever. "Oh, Lucy, don't worry. That's just a standard security check since you're moving to a higher tier. You just need to settle the administrative fee, about 5% of your account balance, and you'll be able to withdraw as much as you want." That was $500. Something felt off, but she pushed the thought away. After all, this was just protocol. She transferred the fee and waited. The withdrawal was still blocked. Now Daniel's tone changed slightly. "It looks like there's a tax hold from our compliance department. Just a temporary thing. Once we process the required payment, everything will go through smoothly." The fee this time? Another 8? Lucy felt a knot tighten in her stomach. This was the first time she truly hesitated. She had trusted Admirals FX, but this felt different. She turned to her husband, explaining the situation, her voice shaky. "This doesn't seem right." "Lucy," he said, his brow furrowed. "If they have that much of our money, why do they need more just to release it?" She called Daniel again. This time, he wasn't as patient. "Lucy, listen to me. You're about to sabotage everything. If you don't process this in time, your account could be frozen. And then what? You'll lose everything." Fear gripped her. She had come too far to walk away now. To cover the new fee, she took out a high-interest loan from Bamboo, then another from Zopa. Another week passed. Her withdrawal was still pending. Her growing unease turned to panic when she received an email from Admirals FX's legal team. It wasn't just about withdrawal delays anymore. The email contained a photo, a picture of her house, and a message. "Failure to comply could result in a charge placed on your property." Her hands shook as she stared at the screen. What had she done? Lucy's heart pounded as she stared at the email. The photo of her house was crisp, taken recently, proof that someone had been there. The message beneath it was short but terrifying. "Failure to comply could result in a charge placed on your property." She felt sick. Her first instinct was to call Daniel, to demand answers, but the fear creeping through her body told her the truth before she even pressed dial. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a scam. She had ignored the signs, the delays, the excuses, the endless demands for more money. Now, she and her husband were drowning in debt. Their pensions gone, their future hanging by a thread. She clutched her phone, her fingers trembling, and dialed Daniel anyway. He answered instantly. "Lucy, I was just about to call you. Listen, I need you to stay calm. This is a routine compliance measure. You sent me a photo of my house. she snapped, her voice cracking. Who are you? What the hell is this? A pause, then a slow, measured exhale. Lucy, I need you to be rational. You have a lot of money in this account. Do you really want to throw it all away? She felt like she was going to be sick. There is no money. Is there? Another silence. Then a colder tone. Look, you can cooperate, or you can make things very difficult for yourself. It's your choice. She hung up. Her husband had been watching from across the kitchen. His face was pale, drawn with exhaustion. It's gone, isn't it? He asked quietly. Lucy felt like she was collapsing from the inside out. Their life savings, everything they had worked for, all of it vanished. They had spent years being careful, budgeting, making sacrifices to ensure their retirement would be secure. And in a matter of months, it had been stolen. Not just their money, but their peace of mind. Her phone buzzed again, another email. She didn't want to look, but she did. Final notice, immediate action required to avoid escalation. She let out a shaky breath. It was another bluff. The officer at the police station would later confirm this. They couldn't place a charge on her house. It was just another intimidation tactic, another way to wring out more money. But in that moment, she wasn't sure what was real anymore. Her mind reeled with self-blame. How could I be so stupid? She thought back to every decision, every moment she had convinced herself this was safe. The carefully designed website, the professional calls, the small withdrawal that had gone through just to gain her trust. It had all been an illusion. She wanted to scream. Instead, she and her husband went to the police. They sat in a small office while an officer took notes, his face grim. Unfortunately, this is common, he told them. These scams are sophisticated. They know exactly how to manipulate people. Can we get any of it back? Her husband asked. The officer hesitated before shaking his head. These operations move money fast, usually through offshore accounts. We'll report it, and you should also contact Action Fraud. But I have to be honest, the chances are slim. Lucy barely heard the rest. She felt hollow. She had worked for decades, making safe, careful financial decisions. But one moment of wanting something more, one moment of believing in a dream, had cost her everything. And now, she had to live with it. The days after the police report felt like a blur. Lucy barely spoke. She barely ate. Each time she looked at her husband, she saw the same hollow exhaustion in his eyes. The weight of their loss was crushing. The numbers haunted her. 100 years ago gone. Their pensions liquidated. The 25 Syrian loans still due, with interest climbing by the day. But worse than the financial ruin was the shame. Lucy had always seen herself as a careful, responsible person. She had spent her life budgeting, making safe choices, avoiding reckless risks, and yet she had fallen for this. The guilt was unbearable. Her husband tried to reassure her. Lucy, they tricked you. They tricked us. You weren't reckless. You were deceived. She nodded numbly. But it didn't feel like enough. The police had done what they could, but as the days passed, it became clear there would be no justice, no recovery of their savings. The criminals behind Admirals FX had vanished, their website taken down, their phone lines disconnected. And somewhere, far away, they were likely doing the same thing to someone else. Still, life had to move forward. The high-interest loans needed repayment. Without their pensions, they were left with only the state pension to survive on. Their once secure retirement was now an uncertain struggle. One afternoon, Lucy received a call from a debt advisor at StepChange, a charity she had reached out to in desperation. "Yeah, Lucy, I know this feels overwhelming," the woman on the line said kindly, "but you're not alone. There are steps we can take. Let's start with a repayment plan for the loans, something manageable." It was the first time Lucy had felt even a sliver of relief in weeks. She and her husband spent the next few months restructuring their finances, negotiating repayments, and making difficult adjustments. There would be no dream vacations, no comfortable retirement, but they wouldn't lose their home. She started attending online support groups for scam victims. For the first time, she heard voices of others who had gone through the same thing, people who had lost their life savings, their homes, their families because of these schemes. And in those conversations, she realized something. She wasn't stupid. She wasn't weak. She had been manipulated by professionals, people who spent their lives perfecting the art of deception. One day, a journalist reached out after hearing about her case. They were writing a story on financial scams and wanted to share her experience. Lucy hesitated at first. The shame still lingered. But then she thought of the people still at risk, the ones scrolling through their phones at night, just like she had, searching for a way to secure their future. She agreed to tell her story. The article was published a few weeks later. Lucy's name was changed for privacy, but her words were raw, real. She spoke about the slow manipulation, the fabricated numbers, the moment she realized the truth. She ended with a message to others. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. I thought I was being smart. I thought I was in control, but I wasn't. These scammers stole my money, but I won't let them steal my voice. If my story stops even one person from falling for this, then I've done something right. For the first time in months, she felt something lighter, something closer to peace. She would never get her money back, but she had reclaimed something else, her strength.